What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. It's been an interesting week. If you've been following my conversations over on Twitter, I've been having some pretty productive conversations with the showrunner of Netflix's The Witcher. Like a literal Hollywood bigwig has been taking time out of their day to try and understand where some of the fans are coming from when it comes to things they didn't like about season 2. I've been on The Witcher's side. You know, some of the early stuff did not look good, like the Nilfgaard armor and stuff that we saw. But ultimately, on the show, it looked pretty good. Everyone pretty much loves Henry Cavill. But it's been an interesting thing to watch on the internet as so many in the industry, whether they're journalists or they're other people in Hollywood, how they've been absolutely losing their minds that we've had just basically a civil conversation. You know, this woman is not declaring me, you know, her friend. We're not going out, although we may go out on a date soon. That's her words, not mine. But, you know, just the fact that we're even having a conversation is blowing people's minds. And it's actually so rare on the internet. Mainstream or media, the media is actually starting to cover it about like, oh my goodness, an actual good conversation came out of this. If you've been following the story, you know, there's been some fan disappointment with season 2. Mostly people that like me that preferred to see more Henry Cavill monster slaying as The Witcher. It doesn't necessarily mean it's not like objectively bad or it's not objectively, you know, a bad thing. It's just my personal taste. I feel like Henry Cavill needs more screen time and The Witcher needs more screen time. After all, it's called The Witcher. But that's just my opinion. There are a lot of people that like seeing, obviously Ciri is an important part and so is Yen. How do you balance all that, you know, in an 8-hour miniseries, basically? I get it. I want more Henry Cavill in season 3. We'll see if we get it. I think she understands where we're coming from, at least now. And it's not like the show is exactly suffering, but it's weird how the media is bending over backwards. You see this article? The Witcher returns to dominance atop Nielsen US streaming chart, racking up 2.2 billion viewing minutes. Now, I don't know why they didn't go with the, you know, they could have had 60 times bigger. They could have had 120 billion viewing seconds. How about milliseconds? I mean, a viewing minute is irrelevant. That means you click start and you could have just turned it off. You know, it doesn't tell us anything. The previous industry standard used to be, I think it was 70% or 75% of the show. If you watched that much of it, then you were considered a view. And I think that was fine. You know, people, you know, tune in, they watch 1 or 2 episodes, they bail. You don't get credit for watching the series. But now it's like, well, hours, by the way, first they were reporting it on hours. Now it's like, well, hours is too small of a number. 450 million hours isn't good enough. We've got to get to billions of minutes. And that's essentially what they're doing. You know, it was a distant second place to Cocomelon on Netflix with 840 million viewing minutes. The latest chart covers, December 13th to 19th. Cocomelon is just babysitting for parents, really. So it's hard to compete with that. But you have The Witcher, 16 episodes, so they've included both seasons, 2.2 billion. That's it. Very, very impressive. That means it's doing well in international markets too. I mean, you could see Disney Plus, Hawkeye and Disney Plus, 580 million. That's a fourth, 25%. Criminal Minds? Is that show still on? Cocomelon, Lost in Space, The Unforgivable? What? Seinfeld, NCIS. I guess I don't know what people are watching. The Wheel of Time. Oh, yeah. Okay, so Wheel of Time's on Amazon. Anyway, like, the Netflix show is doing just fine. I think that it could be doing better, but you see this article now. Did The Witcher just cause an actual civil conversation on Twitter? The Witcher showrunner and a prominent conservative YouTuber unexpectedly become frenemies. After a prominent right-wing YouTuber, The Quartering, I don't think I'm right-wing, but whatever, posted a tweet criticizing Netflix's The Witcher, showrunner Lauren Hissrich replied, surprising many engaged in a long and friendly banter with the critic. It's something that rarely happens on Twitter, where most people, they are not straight out of their echo chambers. but The Witcher showrunner Lauren Hissrich has proven to be one of the more open-minded creatives out there, as she engaged in friendly banter with Jeremy the Quartering Hambly, shocking many users who did their utmost to dissuade the two sides from engaging. The exchange began after Hambly posted his thoughts on the second season of The Witcher, saying it wasted Henry Cavill, who plays Geralt, and focused too much on strong, independent women who don't need no man. Hissrich replied by saying that she was the strong, independent woman who's to blame for his sadness. But surprisingly, what followed wasn't an exchange of actual insults and denouncements, but rather a friendly exchange of questions and lighthearted banter. Hissrich said that she would make herself known as a real person instead of a faceless, hysterical, attacking liberal SJW woman. She went on to ask the Quartering what he does and who his audience is, while many of Hissrich's followers immediately started warning her about the supposed dangers in engaging with trolls. She insisted on continuing the conversation in order to prove that people with different opinions don't necessarily have to treat each other like trash. While Hissrich and Hambly both acknowledge that they're unlikely to become actual friends and probably will never align politically, their exchange highlighted the importance of being able to engage in a discussion without resorting to toxicity and harassment. Hissrich closed out the conversation by stating that she remains who she is, but is open to friendly discussions and hopes they will continue. The thing is, you know, when you look at a lot of these comments, you know, there's a lot of emotion in them. A lot of these people, you know, who were very negative about me, for example, they haven't watched one of my videos in years. There's like some She-Ra weirdos that are still angry that I made fun of it. Or there's like, you know, your normal like Ethan Klein fans that are like, oh, he made a million videos about this woman and it's not okay because I am the arbiter of how many videos people can make. And there's all sorts of stuff like that. But like, this is a good moment and was a good moment. And it's such an important moment that like actual media sites are covering it. You know, this person wrote, you could try, but like this dude already has an entire market etched out of being a jerk to women. Look at his 4 billion videos on Brie. Oh, yeah, there's exactly what I'm saying. He's also a far-right reactionary. Okay. But she wrote back, yeah, he and I are not going to agree politically, and I love Brie Larson, but I'm here to stay to try and understand and let him understand me. It's all I can do. You know, it's interesting to see, you know, it's you can have these type of conversations. Now, there are people still on, you know, on the right. You could see Hambly far right. He's so painfully centrist. You couldn't get him to arbitrate a discussion on what color the sky is. These people are living in another planet where the clown costume is normal. Hey, good for you for defending me, Evito. Good for you. I don't think that this particular site, RT, is... I think it's more conservative, right-wing. So that I don't think they're calling me right-wing as a insult, like some websites might do. But for me, I don't like to ascribe to any particular political compartment, because what it does is it allows people to shut down conversation on you. It allows people to put you in a box and then ascribe other people's opinions to yours. They'll say, oh, well, you're a conservative, so you must also be, I don't know, pro-life. There are certainly many people who are that vote Republican that are pro-choice. I don't like to let people do that to me, and I hope that my viewers also consider, you know, self-selecting themselves, stopping from self-selecting themselves, because it just lets your enemies or people that would want to bring you down take the worst of something and just paint it on your back, like you're responsible. Like, oh, you voted for this guy, so you must. It's the same weirdos that are like, oh, you voted for Trump, you must agree with every single thing he did. Or you voted for Obama, you must have agreed with every single thing he did. Those people don't actually exist off of Twitter. I mean, they exist on Twitter. These like weird worshiping sycophants, but normal people are generally unhappy with the president, even if they voted for them. And so I try to, you know, coach my viewers to stop calling yourself a Republican, or stop calling yourself a Democrat, or stop calling yourself a libertarian or whatever, unless you blindly agree with everything, because of just how people will use it. That's all. Not because it's inherently bad. And this conversation kind of proves that, things can work out. And it really just depends who wants to cover it. Because, the left, mainstream media, Deadline, Variety, and all this stuff, they're not going to cover that. And I'm sure Lauren will disappear into the aether. I'm sure her DMs are full of people in the industry who are like, look at this one thing he said outside of context, and look at this, and look, he's so evil. Please stop talking to him. You're making us look bad. But I, for one, applaud her for reaching out. This will almost certainly be my last video on it, but I thought it was interesting how the mainstream media has now started to pick it up. I suppose RT is not mainstream media, but big media outlets are starting to pick it up and point at the good that came out of it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and maybe I'll see you on Witcher Season 3.